Hey, good evening, everybody. Chef Marshall here. Welcome to Cooking with Confidence, our live interactive cooking show. Super happy to have you with me and to be cooking with you in the kitchen. And if you're just tuned in and you're saying, what's this guy talking about cooking in the kitchen? This is a live interactive cooking show where you get the recipes in advance and then we cook together in real time. Please make sure if you're interested in doing that, not just watching me go yabba dabba doo up here, chefmarshallobrien.com/show, so you can get the recipes and do the shopping, and then we do the cooking together. It's a ton of fun. Really excited to have you, and I can't wait to talk about tonight's recipe. It's a special recipe, but before we do, I want to tell you real quick why we put this show together. 4 reasons. Number 1, give you a positive experience at least one night a week. Number 2, we want to help you build your skills and confidence in the kitchen. Number 3, we want to help you take some stress out of the meal planning, having one of those dishes you don't have to think about that night. And number 4, teach you how to nourish, help you nourish, support you in your nourishing, and not just feeding you with great tasting, awesome dishes. So that's why we do what we do. Make sure that you are liking our Facebook fan page. Please share with your friends. Share this on your feed. Let people know about it. The more people comment and pass it on, the more we can connect and help make a difference out there. Also, please go to our Instagram, Chef Marshall O'Brien, and go to our YouTube channel, Chef Marshall's Cooking with Confidence. We need more subscribers because then we can unlock production capabilities. So please, be so generous, and you're already being here with your time, being generous with your time. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's get into tonight's recipe. We have a chef's special omelet, and you might say, what's the special part about it? Well, whatever's in your fridge is the special. Okay, I want to know who knew that. Let us know in the comments below. Did anybody know that's the deal? And I'm probably not as big of a surprise as I thought. I think people knew that, but I want to know what you think. And if this is your first time watching, I want to know what you think. My right-hand gal, amazing Jonna, is taking your questions, and then she will be relaying them. You want to say good evening?
Good evening.
Okay. All right. And we got the chuckles coming from Alex and Gabriel doing awesome production to make our show happen. So thank you so much, guys. I'm super grateful for you. And then, of course, here I am trying to keep us going without having our hands or hair or anything catch on fire or get cut off.
And we have 2 special guests.
2 special guests indeed. Who are those guests? Just kidding. My amazing young ladies, my 2 daughters, Azra and Isla. They are here in the back watching, and thank you so much for being here. And Isla's occupied with music. There you go. That's a 9-year-old for you. Anyways, so we've got chef's special dish, and like I said, anything that's in your fridge can be the special. For those of you that are watching, for those of you that have the recipe, you notice that I said, obviously we talked about eggs, and if you want to use green onions and garlic, I have some Parmesan cheese. I found some mushrooms, some bell peppers, a little bit of zucchini. I had some cooked meat. At the end of the day, you can take any kind of leftovers you want, for more or less any kind of vegetable work. I would not do a romaine lettuce, but an arugula would be really tasty, certainly spinach. But just get creative, and that's the whole thing. And all cheesiness aside, I really want you to stretch. I always say how cooking is an art, and the whole thing with that is just trying something new and trying some combinations. And I'm actually going to do 2 omelets for you tonight. And the reason why I'm going to do that is I'm going to give you 2 ways that you can make an omelet, specifically with the pans. We're going to use a nonstick pan because that's most people's comfort level. And then I'm going to do an omelet again with a no nonstick pan. And this will be a little, you'll see the difference, and we'll talk about the difference and the benefits and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, Tess is wondering, are we using eggs from our chickens today?
We technically could be because Meg, Rose, Ginger, and Harriet just started laying eggs
a week ago.
A week ago.
Finally.
So
they took a break.
But we're kind of selfish. We kept them at home. But I'm glad you asked. We are eventually going to have a show with the chickens, and we just haven't quite gotten the courage to do that yet, but it will eventually happen. Folks, make sure you're following us on Facebook, Instagram, Chef Marshall O'Brien, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want your support. We appreciate you being here, giving us your time. Okay, well, let's get into tonight's recipe. The way this works for you new folks is Jonna will be, you're going to, in the chat box, whether you're on YouTube streaming live or Facebook streaming live, you're going to put your chat in there, ask your questions, your comments, and then Jonna's going to relay them out and we'll answer them in real time. It's super fun. I want to know, first thing, what is your skill level when it comes to omelet making? 1 to 4, 4 superstar chef omelet maker. 1, what is an omelet? Meaning, I don't know how to make one. Where are you at? Put them in the comments. Let us know.
Well, while they're putting their comments on, I just want to say, Cindy says hi, Steve is here, Tess is here, Liz.
Good evening, Steph,
Amy.
Steve, and Cindy, and Tess.
Charlie. Liz says, no, Cindy says, last week was great, made it twice.
Awesome. Speaking of making it, I appreciate you, Cindy, commenting. Every show, we want to acknowledge you for your generosity in participating and taking the time to try our recipes. And we want to give you a shout out. So when you make the dish, please take a picture, put it in the comments, or you can Facebook message, or if you can't do that, you can always send us an email. But we want to showcase your hard work and your efforts, and write a little comment about what you liked, why you liked it, all that kind of stuff, so we can acknowledge you. And it's cool. And you know what else is really cool about that? Not only selfishly does it make me happy, but you're inspiring others to try this, because a lot of times people are trying with some new ingredients or a new technique, or just maybe just trying a new recipe in general. And it really matters, and it makes a big difference when they hear it from other people that they can do it, and so can you. So love it, love it, love it. All right, well, we are going to continue on with making our omelet. First thing you want to do is, we always say, make sure you have your tools. We got a pan, we've got knife and cutting board, we have our eggs. Omelet's going to go really quick. My recommendation would be to cut up all the ingredients you want first, and if your food is, if it's leftovers, you're just going to do a quick heat up, right? And that's sort of obvious. But if it's if it's raw stuff, like I'm going to use some mushrooms and some bell peppers and a little bit of a chicken here. With the chicken is cooked, but I'm going to start with the mushrooms. You want to do this, to kind of do it in stages, and as the recipe says, heat up your filling, and move forward. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Like Steve noticed and likes to say, we're going to start with the sizzle. We got the sizzle going. I'm going to add a little bit. Now we write in the recipe you can optionally add onions and garlic. So I'm actually going to do some garlic with this. I decided to throw in some mushrooms. Again, chef special. Questions, comments, thoughts?
Tess says, breakfast for dinner happens regularly at our house. Omelets are fantastic. And Dominic is here.
Good evening, Dominic. Great to have you.
Let's see. We have 3s, 2s, 2, 4 all the way.
3s and 2s on the omelet making. And what was the other one?
4 all the way.
Wow, 4 all the way. Well, there we go. That's confidence. I like that. It's all about cooking with confidence. So we want to make sure that you're cooking with confidence, and that's why you're tuning in and cooking with me tonight. I appreciate that. I'm gonna mince up some garlic here. We got our mushrooms going. I would recommend, as you're making your omelet, and if you're gonna go the raw, starting out fresh with raw veggies or anything that's really hard, get those in first, and then build it in layers with the lighter, more delicate vegetables or delicate foods towards the end. Mushrooms take a little bit of time. Granted, they're just full of water. And you know what else is awesome with mushrooms? They're high in vitamin D. And I'm pointing this out because vitamin D comes from the sun. And if that vitamin D can help boost your mood and help you be more emotionally resilient. So if you want a really awesome health tip, get more vitamin D rich foods in your life. Yogurt, meats, eggs, rich in vitamin D, especially if those eggs are coming from chickens like ours, Meg, Rose, Ginger, Harriet. Shout out to my lovely ladies in the coop tonight. Vitamin D rich foods, get them. I definitely resonate with that. If you suffer at all from seasonal affective disorder, get that vitamin D rich food into your life. And any kind of mushroom will work. It could be white button mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, chanterelle mushrooms, lion's manes mushrooms. We got some baby bellas, also known as cremini mushrooms, portobello mushrooms. But you want to definitely get those.
Cindy wants to know, how long can you store fresh garlic?
What was? I'm sorry.
How long can you store fresh garlic?
How long can you store fresh garlic? If you let it sit out at room temp, and by the way, I'm just cutting up some of this cooked chicken here just to make it little smaller pieces. If you leave garlic out, you'll notice over time that it'll start to grow. And if you want to halt the growing process, if you will, and just preserve it longer, pop it in your fridge. And I would say your fresh garlic, if it's under the right conditions, meaning in a container and kind of tucked away from air circulation, it will probably last you 3 to 4 weeks in your fridge. So that's a generalization, okay? But that's probably correct. I'm going to add my chicken. And if you're using, again, you don't have to do the chicken. You can just have just vegetables in here, but that's what I had in my fridge. On the recipe, we say about 2 cups of filling. And if you want to do more, you can. Sometimes if you go more, the omelet can get really big. It can overflow. So you just figure out what works for you and your comfort level. That's ultimately what we're trying to do on that. Questions, comments, thoughts? Questions, comments, thoughts?
Dominic is asking, did I miss my artistic photo?
Dominic, it was going to be a surprise, but I did tell you about it, so it really wasn't a surprise. No, you did not. It will be coming up in just a second. Well, just a few minutes. Not yet. Let's cut up some bell peppers here. I am now going to add the garlic with the bell peppers because I got the moisture from the bell peppers that will help keep the garlic from burning. I don't want the garlic to burn. This is getting really nice. Got some nice aromas going. If you had some spices, definitely you could throw some spices in there, maybe some dried herbs or maybe fresh herbs. I'd actually do the fresh herbs at the end. I don't have any, so it kind of doesn't really matter in this case. But omelets are easier. They're really easier. They're really easier than you think if you're not used to doing them. And I'm going to, again, get into that technique part. Making the filling's pretty easy. You just want to make sure that your filling's hot. You know, if it's cold and you've gone through the process of setting the eggs and you're about to finish and then you put cold filling in there, well, you're going to have a warmish, hottish, coldish omelet. And so that's why we're going through this whole process. Speaking of process, I'm choosing not to use all of this just because I chose not to. You absolutely can use all the white on the onion, and you could stick this in the ground and actually new green onions will grow. So it's a real fun way to interact with your kids and show them where their food comes from. Speaking of that, you know, almost all of our recipes are great ways to get your family involved. Your kids can help portion, they can help chop, measure, they can help stir. They don't have to do if you want to do the pan toss, that might be a little intimidating for some people, but get folks involved. I know a lot of people that watch, they like to do this as a date night. What a great way to connect with your significant other around food, great tasting food, nourishing food. I think that's beautiful. It makes my day, and it sounds like it makes a lot of other people's days, so that's great. All right, questions, comments, thoughts? I am going to just put the onions here at the end. Again, the nature of this omelet I'm providing you is really to let you do what you want, and then we're going to focus here just a second on the technique. So don't get hung up on did you do the steps of the filling right, because at the end of the day, as long as the filling's hot and you like the ingredients, we're going on the right track. Okay, now I remember why I pulled that bowl out was for the filling, and then I put the bowl back. My ingredients are nice and hot. I'm going to take these and I'm going to just put them in, set them aside. And then we're going to continue on with our omelet. I recommend if you're a novice at making omelets, I recommend that you make them in 2 batches. When you do them in 2 batches, you're going to have a lot more control and comfort in preparing these. And it'll make sense in just a second here. I'm going to add a little more fat to the pan. So first I'm doing it with a non-stick, and then I'm going to show you with a no non-stick. But just to, again, just make it easy for yourself. I'm adding a little bit of the fat. I've got my pan is hot. I've got the sizzle. Okay, I'm ahead of myself. I'm going to turn off my pan for just a second. I forgot. I was so excited to assemble this. Got to finish doing the eggs. I'm going to show you a little thing about eggs. For those of you that you might find this helpful. You can do the whole crack bit like that. You can crack it on the side, and I'll get to the distinction here in just a second. But I have my eggs. Certainly, if you're cooking for one, why don't you just cut the portion of eggs down by a fourth? You just use 2 eggs, and a single omelet is so simple. Now, this is the little tip I wanted to show you. If I were to break the egg like this on the edge versus like this or like this, does anybody know what happens when I do it this way? Where do those shells go? Where do those shells go when I crack it that way? I want to know in the comments. I'm going to give you 2 seconds to answer that in the comments. Anybody? Awkward moment of silence.
Have you ever tried making it in a bag?
Have you ever tried? Well, before we answer that question, did anybody know anybody know why I don't do it this way?
In the bag,
That's right, Tess. Yep, correct, Amundo. If you crack it on, and I know like a lot of people do that, and I'm not saying like you're gonna, go to, be in trouble with the cooking police or anything, but if you want to minimize eggshells getting in your eggs, that's what you want to do. So we're gonna crack it on the side to minimize any shell going in. Now here's another little tip for you. Let's say you get shell in there. If you take a whole shell and then you go in the eggs and try to dig out the shell, that little piece of shell will be attracted to the big shell, and it will actually kind of like magnetically go in. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So you can use those shells. I'm getting the look of I didn't get it in. I didn't get the raw eggshell in the
garbage bin.
Garbage. Forgive me. All right, moving forward. Questions, comments, thoughts?
Steve thinks it's cool.
I want to know, folks, what ingredients are you using for your chef's special omelet tonight? Let us know in the chat box. What are you using? What are you using? Okay, this looks great. All right, now we're going to get back into making our omelet. We have a hot pan, as it was a hot, well, it's still pretty hot. I'm going to heat it back up. We're going to get going. What kind of ingredients are you using tonight, folks? Let us know. If you're live streaming Facebook, if you're live streaming watching us on YouTube, let us know in the chat box. Also, please take pictures of what you're making. I want to see your final product. I love seeing the action shots. I love seeing the decor with the table being set. If you want to take those pictures so we can acknowledge you for your hard work, be sure that you're following us on YouTube, Chef Marshall's Cooking with Confidence, and of course, Facebook right here, and on Instagram at Chef Marshall O'Brien. Okay, now it is time. It is time to, one little tip that I did not demonstrate, but it never hurts to do, and I mention it in the recipe, is you can wipe out your pan before you continue with this next step. So that's something to just keep in mind as and the reason why it's just to ensure that you don't get debris that creates problems with the eggs sticking and things like that. And it's definitely a much more relevant step to take when you're using a no nonstick pan, which we'll do after we do this. Okay, questions, comments, thoughts?
Well, you asked what they're using, so
I did. I'd like to know what.
Zucchini, chicken, cheese, red peppers.
Nice.
Steve says, let's see, green onion, mushrooms, sausage.
Sounds awesome. Love it.
Let's see, Dominic, diced potatoes, peppers, zucchini, dish leftovers.
There we go. Using leftovers is a great approach. Glad to hear it. All right, our pan is hot enough, and if you want to just make sure that your pan is hot enough, maybe just drop a little bit of egg, definitely hot enough. So I'm going to add a portion of this. Again, this serves 4. The vision I have is you can make 2 batches, make an omelet enough for 2 people, and then another batch for 2, unless you want to go the whole deal for 4. You can, but I would suggest doing it in 2 batches. Now, this is where we want to pay attention. You're going to tilt towards yourself and then scrape up, and then tilt and scrape. So just tilt and scrape. Does that make sense, folks? Really simple. And you keep tilting and scraping until all the excess egg has more or less set. And this is really, it's so simple, folks. And you know, we're already well on our way. The key is that you have a really hot, you have a nice hot consistent pan, and just making sure that it's not sticking. And it's okay if it's not perfect, but the more you let it sit, once you get to that point where it's almost all set, then you kind of just let it sit and set, and now it will hold. And you can see here how it's one big mass right there. Okay, see how that is? It looks great. And then, oh, we got a comment? Go ahead.
Well, Pamela wants to know, is it true if you add cold water to mix, it will be watered down or fluffy?
Great question. If you want to go the fluffy route, a whisk is going to incorporate more air. If you whisk your eggs with a fork, it's going to be less fluffy. Adding the water obviously adds a little more moisture and volume. I usually don't do that, but some people do. They might use milk. I just kind of go straight up on just plain eggs because I don't need the excess moisture on here. I might do that when we're making French toast, and I probably again would use milk or maybe go half and half and make it a little more decadent, but that would be my approach on this. So this is a nice set. This is nice and set. I'm going to take some of the salt and pepper. I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese in here.
Steve was asking when to add the Parmesan cheese. That's
right
the
now,
moment.
Steve,
right now.
Right now, my friend. Right now. You got it. And then we're going to add some of our topping. Again, we've cooked it. It's hot. And this is basically ready to go. Let me grab a bigger plate so we can see. And then if you want to, watch this. You can take your pan and tilt it and then just flip it like that. Boom. Now this is a super big omelet. Again, serving 2. You're all set. I got it. There we go. Got the see that? Again, cut it in half. You're all set, folks. Really simple. If you want to, and I'm trying to, I want to be a realist and be practical. I love making omelets. I've been getting into omelets the last couple of weeks, right? Making omelets for you gals. Oh, I'm getting the don't look at me look. It's okay. I can look at you. Anyways, I like to make single omelets, but it's probably more practical to make a big omelet if you feel comfortable and then cutting it into portions. So hope that makes sense. Questions, comments, thoughts? Where are you at, folks, with all of that? And then we can just do this, of course. While I'm just cutting this up, but I'm heating up my next pan, okay? I'm going to warm this guy up, and then I will show you again through a no nonstick approach. And you might ask, why am I doing that? Well, some people don't want to use nonstick pans. I'm not a big fan of nonstick pans. I mean, there's good quality nonstick pans, and sometimes I just like, if you use them a lot, they wear out fast, and then if they get scratchy and flaky, the nonstick particles, I don't really want to eat that. So I just practice using no nonstick, and use more fat, but that's okay. Okay, because fat is going to help keep your blood sugar stable, and when your blood sugar is stable, you're going to have more stable moods, more stable energy, and it's just so anyways, again, kind of comes down to your cooking style and lifestyle, and you do what makes sense for you. But here we have those beautiful omelet that we just did, and now we're going to again do it with the no nonstick pan, just meaning a plain straight up pan. I want to make sure that it's hot, and I can feel it. It's great. I'm going to add some olive oil to it and swirl it around. We got a hot pan. I'm getting looks. What's going on?
We have a request.
Oh, a request. What would that be?
All
right. I am tilting all this now. It's really.
What you want.
I want that last one to be just a plain omelet with cheese in it.
Okay. Well, we have a request. So we're going to make this last one with just cheese in it. I will be happy to do that. Folks, notice how I'm continually tilting this pan because I want to ensure it's got to have enough fat to create that sizzle barrier in order for the eggs not to stick. Okay? Because that's one of the convenience things about doing non-stick is it doesn't stick. But when you use a pan like this, you see where I'm going. All right, so this is nice and hot. If you want to use ghee has a higher smoke point because it's clarified butter for just to keep it simple. If you want to use coconut oil, if you want to use avocado oil, olive oil has a relatively low smoke point, so you have to you gotta know what you're doing with it. Otherwise, you can burn it up. All right, we're ready. We're ready. Questions, comments, thoughts?
Dominic says, I like my cast iron.
Yeah, that would be great. Just make sure that it's nice and lubricated. That'd be dynamite. Yeah, I'm going to add my eggs. Got the sizzle. That's exactly what we want. And then we are, as we were doing before, we're going to do the tilt. Okay? See how I keep tilting? Now, this pan is a little small, but my next size up was a little too big, and that's okay. But you see how we're getting, it's setting. I want to know your feedback on this, folks. How is this going for you? Are you doing it in real time with me? Has anybody had an aha on how to make an easier omelet? Let us know in the comments. Look at that. See how it's nice? It's setting up nice there. Okay. So Miss Isla asked for just cheese. We could have used these ingredients. And you know what's nice is I could just, especially if it's freshly cooked, I could just portion this in, or put this in a container and pop it in my freezer, and I can make omelets with it another time. So that'd be pretty cool. We are going to add, I'm going to add a little more salt and pepper on here. And then we're going to add this Parmesan cheese, and any kind of cheese would be dynamite. But we're going to add a little Parmesan cheese on there, or should I add a lot of Parmesan cheese? Like a lot? Mm-hmm. Like whoa, it's a lot. All right, that looks good. It's really important, folks. Look at how nice and like how that's easily separate like that. It's really important that you give enough fat in the pan if you're going to go the no non-stick route. And we definitely have an awesome setup there. I'm going to grab one more plate. Again, this is going to serve two, even though I did it in a smaller pan. I still had the same amount of, equal parts eggs. Notice the technique with my hand. It's like I'm analogous. I don't know how to say this. All right, but you see where I'm going. I'm going to lift it and then just kind of tilt it over and fold it over, and boom. How's that look? Does that look awesome or what? Now we have a beautiful omelet. Now, there are omelet purists that would say, hey, you cooked it too much on the bottom. I just want you to be able to get all the barriers out of the way and feel comfortable making an omelet. So if you get to this point and you've browned it a little bit on the bottom, you have still hit a home run, and you must be very proud, and you should be proud that you took the time to figure out an easier way to do it. Questions, comments, thoughts?
Steve says tipping technique is helpful.
Good. Good.
Dominic says, I never knew about using the tilt technique. Cool.
Yes, that tilt technique really makes a difference. Okay, this was awesome. I want to, we got some folks that made some great dishes last week, so I would love to acknowledge the hard work and give some shout outs to folks on making things that they did. Dominic, here is your lentil stew picture. That's beautiful. Nice work, my friend. And I love your pan, by the way. Nice work. Diane Audie says, here's the pic. We liked it. Well, I would like that too. A hearty lentil stew looks beautiful. Nice job. And BK Mullen says, the savory hearty lentil stew we did last week. Katie used red lentils. Okay, cool. Didn't simmer as long. Glad you noticed the nuance with that. Got a little mushy. Oh, that's okay. We're going to keep moving forward. Sorry about that. And Amy Verab. Oh, Amy, look at you. You made tonight's recipe. Way to be on top of it. So glad that you took advantage of it and you did it in advance. And that looks great. I love the bacon and the pineapple too. Yum. Well, folks, if you're looking for more great tasting and nourishing recipes, get our Smart Nutrition Cookbook and Meal Planner. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Going to help make life easier, whether it's for you or for friends or family. Get it for them. Go to chefmarshallobrien.com/shop. All right, cool. Well, listen, folks. Breakfast for dinner. I want to know in the comments or send me an email, how did it turn out tonight? Take your picture. A lot of you did different ingredients. I love it. I want to know what you made, how it went, and would you make it again? Okay. This was wonderful. Let's see. Let's just recap. Let's recap a couple things. Using leftovers just makes omelets so much more flavorful and fun, and it puts a nice little fresh spin onto those leftovers. Basically anything will do. Use those fresh, or using spices and fresh herbs at the end, which I didn't demonstrate that, but we talked about it. There was a comment about in the bag. I have not made an omelet in the bag, and I can only imagine that you put the eggs with the filling and then you microwave it, or you put it in boiling water? Not quite sure, so I'd love to learn more about that. That is not a tip that I can speak from experience, but it does sound interesting. I do know, do not put whole eggs that are uncracked in your microwave because they will explode. I did that one time. Forget that tip. That's not a tip. Anyways, folks, making omelets easy. Make sure you have enough fat, and make sure if you go nonstick that you've got a good smooth skin, a smooth pan, and then that you have the tilt to make life easier. Okay? Again, submit those photos. I so appreciate you cooking with me tonight. This was super fun. I hope you enjoy your meal with whomever you are eating with tonight. So make sure you're following us, Facebook, Chef Marshall O'Brien, Instagram, Chef Marshall O'Brien, and definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chef Marshall's Cooking with Confidence. Okay, the more we get folks to subscribe, the more we can unlock our production capabilities with our. And you can watch those. You can watch past episodes. We just can't answer your questions because they're past episodes. But please, we want you to be a part of that. So let us know. How can we help you? We will. Speaking of help, check out the cookbook. It's a great resource. Oh, looks like I have some guests that want to come on. You want to come out here? Come on out. Okay, you want to start eating. All right, we've got people that want to start eating. Folks, the next show is going to be April 15th. Go ahead, pass that on to your sister, young lady. The next show is going to be April 15th, and it's going to be a Central American inspired dish because I'm actually going to be in Costa Rica in 2 weeks. So next show, April 15th, Central American inspired dish. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much.